Hey everybody, welcome to the video. I just wanted to cover something quickly. I found something interesting when I was reading through some Facebook help pages here on advertising and ads, and it's a neat little guide, guides for everything you need to know about getting conversions. And so it goes through a lot of stuff here, and says when used properly, ad sets optimized for conversions are one of the most powerful tools we offer to get the results you care about. However, they can be challenging and often require patience to figure out. How true is that, right? So what follows is an index explanation, blah, blah, blah. Um, Remember, just selecting a conversion campaign objective doesn't mean that your ad sets delivery will be optimized for conversions. You have to choose the conversion you care about in the drop-down of conversions section of the ad set creation, and then select conversions in the drop-down of the optimization for ad delivery section. So there's two sections, right? We knew that. Now here's what we already kind of know. So they're saying that they basically need 15 to 25 of the conversions is optimized per week for a chance at success. But 15 to 25 is a bare minimum. Okay, so 50 to 100 plus is ideal, and we'll get to this in a second. So they're saying if you're optimizing for the purchase event, then you need to have 50 to 100 purchases per week, ideally. So let's do some quick math here, okay, before we get to the other section. Let's say you have something that pays you $27 revenue every time you get a sale. And let's say that ideally you'd like to spend, I don't know, $20, so you have a $7 profit. Well, let's look at that. 7 divided by 20 is like a 0.35, so 35% ROI, which is not bad. So let's say we have a $20 cost to get each conversion, and then times, I don't know, we'll go on the low end. Well, we'll cut it in half. We'll go 75. Okay, so we'll go 50. They're saying 50 to 100 is ideal, so we'll say 75. 75 times 20. That means in a week you'd have to spend $1,500 at a 35% ROI on a $27 revenue. A lot of numbers here, but that's okay. So that's in a week, right? So divide by 7. So this particular ad set would have to spend $214 a day. Okay, now how many of us have ad sets that are spending $214 a day? I would say maybe 2% of us. And the other 98% are falling into the category that we all do. I do too. Like I have very few ad sets right now that are spending $214 a day. And I use this example of a $27 revenue because I run some necklaces and I make $27. Well, I get the revenue is $27 every time I make a sale. So let's keep that in mind. $214 a day. Okay. Now, how many of us are running $10 a day? Times 7, that's $70. So 70 compared to the 214 you need to be running, we're below, right? So how many of us are running $5 a day? 35. Okay, if we need 214, then we're only at 16% of what we need. If we're running 50 a day, which very few are doing 50 a day too, that's only 23% of what we need, according to this from Facebook, right? So let's keep reading through this because there's one point that we're getting to. They go on to say if your ad set can't get at least that many conversions, optimize for a more commonly occurring conversion instead. For example, if the purchase doesn't happen more than 15 times because they use a bare minimum, try optimizing for add to cart or like view content or something higher up the funnel, right? Okay, now why do you need it? And they say, so here's what they say. Our system has to figure out who is most likely to convert, then deliver your ads to those people. Conversions are rare than results you may have optimized for with other ad sets like impressions or clicks. So because of that, getting enough conversion data is crucial. And the more they have, the better. Our system cannot optimize without being able to learn from statistically significant number of conversions. Just repeat that. This is a good line too. Can't optimize without it. Okay? And then they go on to say this is due to laws of uncertainty and statistical learning, not our conversion optimization system, which I, believe it or not, in particular, we're always looking to improve our system, but there's nothing we can do to get around this need for data. Well, I don't believe that, but I think they just want you to spend more. Basically, that's why they're saying all this. So understand what you're bidding on, that's fine. Got it, so what should I bid? Then they're talking about average and maximum cost. Still don't know what to bid. And then choose your targeting. Now this is interesting because I found this little tidbit in here under choose your targeting, but they're saying if there's only one piece of targeting information you take away, make it this. Only separate a target audience into its own ad set if you bid differently to reach the people in that audience compared to those in your other audiences. Okay, so you know how we all do the splitting the interest all the time? And then we have tiny budgets going to those split ad sets, and then we wonder why it never works. Well, I think they're kind of telling us right here that they don't really like that. So they're saying combine them into one ad set with the larger budget. Okay, combine your audiences into one ad set with the larger budget. This is Facebook telling us this. Now, if you keep this in mind, you can target broadly or specifically with equal success. I don't really know what that means because it's one or the other. You're not going to have equal success. Anyway, targeting broadly for many advertisers, the best way to approach conversion optimization, create an ad set with a large audience and let us find the people in it most likely to convert. Okay, now we do know this, that they do like broad audiences because then they can actually dig through and they have a lot of options. But then they go on to say, and this is all of us, well, the bulk of us, we want to split our campaigns into many very specific ad sets. Okay, so here's two examples that show why that doesn't usually lead to success. So example one is each ad set accumulates data. As stated above, we need a certain amount of data for an ad set, not a campaign, because everything is at this level for optimization, not at this level, not at the campaign level. All your optimization takes place here. So reading this, I mean, in theory, you could have one campaign that you ran every single ad set in theory, according to what they're saying. I mean, that's extreme, but, and it's be hard to track your profit and loss, but I think that's why they make campaigns, so it's easier to track your profit and loss, and I think that's the only reason they make campaigns. Anyway, to be able to deliver it optimally, if you have 10 ad sets that each get 5 conversions in a week, you have 50 conversions. But also 10 ad sets without adequate data that may start under delivering. So have you ever had them take off, get some sales right away, and then die? Well, they're telling you why. You're not getting the data. So they say if instead you have one ad set with 50 conversions, you have the same amount of conversions as the other ad set, but also an ad set with enough data to deliver optimally. Okay, this is the point where I think everybody gets stuck. This is the golden nugget here. So say that it takes $10 to gather enough data to start delivering an ad set optimally. Okay, so we kind of went through an example already, but if you have 10 conversion optimized ad sets with $10 budgets, so that's $100 total, but split up into 10, so it's actually $10 each, then in your best case scenario, you have $100 spent on learning. This is it. You have $100 spent on learning and $0 spent on optimal delivery. Okay? $0 spent on optimal delivery. They're telling us right here, if we go too small with the ad sets, then it's going to spend all your money learning and it's not going to spend any money for optimal delivery. Okay? And then they go on to say, if you have one conversion optimized ad set with a $100 budget, $10 is spent on learning, and then $90 is spent on optimal delivery. So this is what, I mean, the numbers aside, what they're saying is that they want big budgets and they want to be able to spend money on learning and then shift the budget to optimal delivery. Okay, so that was kind of the point. So Facebook is telling us don't do the little ad sets. Don't do, because they're not going to give us the conversions. Even if they do, they're going to fade off. Okay. So it says you might think that despite the information above, you still want to segment your campaign into many small ad sets in order to see which one performs best, and then use that as a model for future ad sets. However, with that many ad sets, you're unlikely to get statistically significant number of results for any one of them anyway. So they're saying that, yeah, you might get a couple, but it's not going to last, and it's not going to work. So therefore, probably not a good model to base anything on in the future. They don't like it. And the reason they don't like it mainly is it clogs up their system. Because if they would rather have fewer ad sets and let their algorithm pick the people out of those than have like 5,000, 10,000, a million times the number of ad sets. So when you go in there and you create a whole crap load of $5 ad sets, Facebook doesn't really like it. Anyway, they go on to say targeting specifically, more on the targeting, but essentially means that you're providing our system with more of the data it needs up front, rather than allowing it to figure out who's best to target on its own. The best tools to target specifically while optimizing for conversions are lookalike audiences sourced from your best customers. So when they say target specifically, it's not like us picking out high affinity interests. They're saying targeting specifically means lookalike audiences. Here are some tips for them. Okay. Avoid broad lookalike audiences. So sources like all app installers or all purchasers are not ideal. Okay, you avoid those because they can't distinguish between a great customer and average customers. All right, our recommendation to only split ad sets when you bid differently for each audience should be part of your thinking here. Right? Everyone is grouped together. Use any proprietary data, and you have to help make the distinction. Right? Audience quality is more important than audience size. So what they're saying is the number of people that your lookalike is based on matters. So they're saying between 1,000 and 50,000. So if you have a retargeting list, it's got to have at least 1,000 on it before you create the lookalike to make it of quality. If you have a purchase lookalike, you got to have at least 1,000 on there to make it a quality lookalike audience. Okay. It says having a high quality score, meaning source made up of your best customers, is more important than any specific number. If the source is good, it doesn't matter if it's 20,000 or 30,000. You may even succeed with 100. So it depends on the source. Okay, expand on a good source rather than using multiple similar ones. All right, avoid using additional targeting. So you know how we do a lookalike and then we'll add in a broad interest? Well, they're saying don't do that. It's likely to muddle rather than refine your targeting. Use expanded targeting. They really want you to use expanded interest because it basically gives them free reign. All right. So that is the main takeaway I want you to get is this right here. So what they're saying is don't split it up into 10 ad sets at $10 a piece. Make it one ad set at $100. And they're also saying make it broad, target broad. So I don't know. My thoughts on this are what Facebook tells you and what actually happens in reality are sometimes two different things. But what I have been finding, it's not even a word, finding, is that this can be true. Because some of my ad sets that I start out big and I continue keeping them big actually do better than the ones that are small. So what I like to do to kind of control the cost a little bit is you use manual bidding. And that way, if I set it on auto at $100 a day, I can do that and it'll last for a bit, but then it tends to taper off a little bit if it doesn't get enough conversions quick enough. But if I have manual bidding in there, I can really increase the traffic during peak times and decrease it during non-peak times. So if it's the morning and I know that my particular product sells well in the morning, then I can increase my bid manually to get more traffic. and then maybe during the afternoon it doesn't do as well. So I'll decrease my bid in order to slow down the traffic. And then during the evening, I'll increase it again. So what I'm doing is, this on the same $100, I'm controlling when it's showing the most. So that's a whole different video, but I just wanted you guys to see that. Facebook does offer some advice, but they do bury it a little bit. So the basic gist is they prefer us to have less ad sets, broader targeting, and bigger budgets. Okay, it's not always easy to get there, and it's not always easy to do that, but it is what they want. And the other thing is patience. We tend to give up on ad sets too early. So maybe run an experiment where you run 100 a day on manual bid, or if you want to go, you can do $100 a day on auto bid and just leave it for 3 days. Okay? Because usually by the third, fourth day, things start really cooking and they start really doing well. Within the first day, I mean, we can get aggressive and cut it, but I just look back at all the thousands and thousands of ad sets that I've created over the years, and I wonder if I had let that thing run a little bit longer, if it would have actually, optimization would have kicked in. Because I think we all spend money on the learning phase of an ad set, and we never get to the optimization stage. And it's a big mistake that we all make. So, worth a test, worth an experiment. Try it. If you have something that's working, keep that going. And just do 20% experiment with this. It's a good one to run. Alright, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.